Beloved, there comes a time in a man's life when he must look at the chains that cling to his soul, and declare that they shall not hold him any longer. There comes a day when the invisible battles that rage in the midnight hours can no longer be ignored, when the shadows that creep into your dreams must be confronted, when the torment that whispers lies into your spirit must be silenced. I tell you, demons are real, and they do not bow to weakness. They feed on your fear, they thrive in your despair, they linger in the corners of your shame. But hear me now, they cannot stand against the power of a heart that is aligned with God. They cannot survive in the presence of light. They tremble when you rise in holy fasting, for fasting is not simply the withholding of food, it is the sharpening of your soul into a weapon of victory. It is the act of taking back authority, declaring to heaven and hell alike that you will no longer serve as a playground for darkness, but you will rise as a temple of the living God. When you choose to fast, you enter into a sacred exchange. You lay down your flesh, your cravings, your distractions, and in their place you receive strength that is not your own. You awaken a river of power that has been waiting to flow. Demons flee when they see the child of God choosing sacrifice over comfort. They scatter when they see a man or a woman saying, "Not my will but thine be done." Fasting tears the veil between the natural and the supernatural, and in those holy hours you begin to see with clarity what was hidden in darkness. You begin to discern the whispers of the enemy, and you begin to hear with clarity the instructions of God. Fasting is not a ritual, it is a war cry. It is not about empty stomachs, it is about filled spirits. When you fast, you declare war against the forces that have tried to enslave your destiny. And I tell you, there are 5 ways of fasting that, when embraced with faith and obedience, will dismantle the hold of demons forever. The first way of fasting is the fast of silence. This is the fast where you do not simply abstain from bread and water, but you abstain from the noise of the world. You quiet the chatter of men, the endless songs, the constant scrolling, the perpetual opinions that drown out the voice of God. Silence itself becomes a sanctuary, and in that silence, demons lose their grip. Because demons thrive in distraction, they speak their lies in the chaos. They plant fear in the storm. They whisper accusations when your soul is too busy to discern the truth. But when you fast in silence, when you retreat from the noise and set yourself apart to hear the voice of God, you begin to see the lies for what they are: fragile threads that break under the weight of divine truth. Demons cannot abide in silence, for silence is the soil in which God's whispers grow. You must learn to fast not only from food but from noise, from the constant need to respond, from the urge to be entertained. In the silence, your spirit sharpens, and the demons who once roared so loudly begin to vanish into the shadows, powerless against your stillness. The second way of fasting is the fast of surrender. This fast is not only about denying your body of food, it is about denying your pride of control. You may hold on to bitterness like a familiar friend. You may cling to anger as though it protects you. You may cradle unforgiveness as though it gives you strength. But those are the very doors demons walk through. And when you fast in surrender, you say, "Lord, I release this pain. I release this hate. I release this fear. I release what I cannot change." And in that release the demons are left homeless. They cannot dwell in a surrendered heart. They cannot possess a vessel that is fully yielded to the breath of God. Many of you have wondered why the torment has lingered so long. Perhaps it is because you have been fasting with your mouth, but not with your heart. To fast in surrender is to lay your burdens on the altar and leave them there. It is to say, "Lord, even if you never give me what I ask for, still I will serve you, still I will love you, still I will worship you." That is the fast of surrender, and it will break the back of every spirit that has tried to enslave your mind. The third way of fasting is the fast of fire. This is when you combine your fasting with fervent prayer, when you refuse to sit in silence alone, but you begin to roar with your petitions before the throne of heaven. This is when your fasting fuels your prayer, and your prayer fuels your fasting, and together they ignite a fire that no demon can withstand. Demons can endure your laziness. They can endure your complacency, but they cannot endure your fire. They cannot withstand a believer who wakes at dawn to cry out to the heavens, who lifts holy hands and declares, "Enough is enough." Fasting without prayer is starvation. Prayer without fasting is weak. But when the two join together, they create a furnace so hot that every chain is melted, every prison door is broken, and every demonic force is consumed. You must not only fast with your stomach, you must fast with your prayers. You must hunger not just for food but for His presence. When you fast with fire, you declare that the only appetite that matters is the appetite for God Himself, and in that hunger, heaven moves and demons fall. The fourth way of fasting is the fast of faith. Many fast with doubt in their hearts. Many go without food but still believe they are powerless. Many sacrifice but still think the chains will never break. But fasting without faith is an empty ritual, a hollow gesture. It is not the hunger that moves mountains, it is the faith behind the hunger. When you fast with faith, you are declaring that the battle has already been won. You are declaring that the demons are already defeated. You are declaring that you are already free, even before the evidence appears. This is the fast where you look your torment in the eye and say, "You are already broken." You look at your chains and say, "You are already shattered." You look at your fear and say, "You are already defeated." Demons thrive in unbelief. They feed on your doubts. They grow in your despair. But when you fast with faith, you starve them of oxygen. You choke the life out of their lies. You suffocate their accusations with the power of your belief. To fast with faith is to fast with victory in your heart, knowing that the God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, is the same God who fights for you. The fifth way of fasting is the fast of freedom. This is when you take what you have denied yourself, and you use it to bless another. You do not hoard what you have saved, but you give it to the hungry, you give it to the broken, you give it to the stranger, the widow, the orphan. For true fasting is not only about what you let go of but about what you give away. Demons hate generosity, for generosity reflects the very heart of God. They cannot abide in a vessel that pours out love. They cannot linger in a home that gives freely. The fast of freedom is when you deny yourself, so that another may live. When you sacrifice so that another may rejoice. When you go without so that another may find hope. This kind of fasting destroys demons because it transforms your sacrifice into service, and in serving others you drive away the selfishness that demons feed upon. When you fast with freedom, your heart becomes unshakable, your soul becomes unbreakable, and your life becomes untouchable by the hands of darkness. So I tell you, if you want to destroy demons forever, you must rise into these 5 fasts: the fast of silence, the fast of surrender, the fast of fire, the fast of faith, and the fast of freedom. Do not approach them as rituals, do not treat them as rules, but embrace them as weapons, embrace them as lifelines, embrace them as the pathway to your freedom. For when you do, you will find that demons cannot linger where light abides. You will find that every tormenting spirit that once had power over you will cower before the presence of God within you. And you will walk not as a victim, but as a victor. You will rise not as the oppressed but as the overcomer. You will live not in chains but in liberty. Beloved, the night is long and the battle is fierce, but you were not created to be devoured by darkness. You were created to carry light. You were created to bear the image of a God who reigns over every spirit, who commands every angel, who silences every demon. So rise into fasting, rise into prayer, rise into surrender, rise into faith, rise into freedom. And when you do, watch how the demons that once roared so loudly fall silent. Watch how the shadows that once threatened your peace vanish in the dawn. Watch how the chains that once bound your destiny crumble into dust. For the Lord is your strength, the Lord is your deliverer, the Lord is your fortress, and in him you are already free. Lift your head, child of God, for the demons are defeated, and your victory is already written. Beloved, I must tell you, freedom is not a momentary sensation. It is not a fleeting whisper that visits you once and leaves you hungry again. Freedom is the eternal condition of the soul that dares to step into the fullness of God. And when you walk into fasting with your spirit surrendered, you are not just chasing relief from today's battle, you are laying the foundation for a life that demons can never reclaim. You are not simply pushing back the enemy for a season, you are burning down the bridges that lead back to bondage. You are saying with every denial of the flesh, with every tear spilled in prayer, with every moment of silence in His presence, that the hold of darkness is not just broken temporarily, it is destroyed forever. You are saying that the torment that once knew your address shall never find you again, that the spirits that once tormented your bloodline will find no home in you, that the chains that wrapped themselves around your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors shall snap beneath your feet, because you chose to stand where they fell, you chose to resist where they surrendered, you chose to fast where they feasted on sorrow. I see it even now, some of you carrying wounds so deep you no longer know who you are without them. Some of you have let your pain define you, your trauma speak for you, your torment shape your very name. But fasting, my dear one, fasting has a way of peeling back the masks. It has a way of reminding you that you are not what you have suffered, you are not what you have lost, you are not the echo of the curses spoken over you. Fasting takes you to the place where your spirit remembers the song it was singing before the world taught it, fear. And when you remember that song, the demons that tried to silence it cannot endure its melody. They tremble when they hear a soul reclaiming its divine music. They tremble when they hear you rising in worship even while your stomach groans. They tremble when they hear you crying out in faith, when everything around you screams despair. Because fasting tunes your soul to heaven's frequency, and once you hear heaven clearly, you cannot be fooled by hell's lies. Oh, I know fasting is not easy. The body resists, the flesh cries out, the cravings mock you. But do you not know that even in that struggle power is being birthed? Do you not understand that every pang of hunger is a hammer striking the prison walls of your spirit? Do you not see that every temptation you resist is a nail driven into the coffin of your fear? Demons bank on your weakness, they gamble on your compromise, but they lose when you decide that God is worth more than your comfort. They lose when you decide that your destiny is worth more than your appetite. They lose when you decide that eternity matters more than a fleeting taste. And I tell you, each time you choose God over your flesh, heaven applauds, hell trembles, and your soul grows wings it never knew it had. Because fasting is not about what you lose, it is about what you gain. It is not about emptying alone. It is about being filled with something so holy, so unshakable, that demons cannot stand to be near it. Some of you are asking even now, why demons? Why such resistance? Why such torment? Why has my life been a battlefield from the moment I was born? And the answer, beloved, is because you are chosen. Demons do not waste time on the ordinary. They do not wrestle with the ones who have surrendered their destiny to darkness already. They come after the ones marked with light, the ones whose voices will break chains, the ones whose lives will shift generations. They come after you because they know the power within you, even when you cannot see it yourself. They attack you because they are terrified of what will happen when you awaken to your true identity in God. And fasting is the very key that awakens you. It is the sharpening stone that reveals your edge. It is the trumpet blast that declares to heaven and hell alike that you will no longer live unaware of who you are. You are not a slave. You are not a victim. You are not abandoned. You are the child of the Almighty. And when you fast, you align with the authority that was already written in your name before time began. But let me remind you, child, demons do not leave willingly. They do not pack their bags because you asked nicely. They resist. They push back. They will scream louder as you grow closer to freedom. They will tempt you with every flavor of comfort, every distraction, every false promise. They will whisper, "This fast is useless. You are still the same. Nothing is changing." But in that moment you must stand firm. You must remember that deliverance is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is a chain breaking in silence. Sometimes it is a seed sprouting unseen beneath the soil. Sometimes it is a stronghold weakening day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize you are free. Do not measure your freedom by the noise of the enemy. Measure it by the faithfulness of your God, for He has never failed, and He will not fail you now. If you fast with faith, if you fast with fire, if you fast with surrender, silence, and freedom, then the demons that once terrorized your nights will be nothing more than dust beneath your feet. I urge you, beloved, do not fast as though you are begging God for scraps. Do not fast as though you are bargaining with Him. Fast as though you already know the victory is yours. Fast with the confidence that your Father delights in your sacrifice, that He hears your cry, that He is already moving on your behalf. Demons despise confidence. They despise joy in suffering. They despise peace in hunger. They despise hope that will not die. And when they see you laughing in the middle of a fast, when they see you praising while your body aches, when they see you lifting hands in worship while your lips are dry, they realize they have lost. For fasting teaches you to live, not by bread alone but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And when you learn that secret, you are untouchable. And let me tell you this, fasting is contagious. When one soul chooses to fast, it lights a fire in another. When one family chooses to fast, it shifts the destiny of the children. When one community fasts, demons that ruled entire neighborhoods must flee. Do you not know that fasting can turn cities upside down? Do you not know that fasting can break the chains of entire nations? Do you not know that fasting can call down revival that no force of darkness can resist? It starts with one. It starts with you. And if you choose to rise, if you choose to fast, if you choose to walk in these 5 holy ways, then your life will not only be delivered, it will become a beacon of deliverance to others. People will see your light. People will hear your testimony. People will feel your freedom, and they will know that the same God who broke your chains can break theirs as well. So rise, beloved. Rise in silence. Rise in surrender. Rise in fire. Rise in faith. Rise in freedom. Let the demons that once chased you turn back in fear. Let the torment that once bound you dissolve into nothing. Let the shadows that once followed you be consumed by the brightness of your dawn. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for a sign. Do not wait for another voice to tell you. The voice is here. The call is now. The time is today. Fast and you will see. Fast and you will hear. Fast and you will be delivered. Fast and you will walk in a power that hell itself cannot deny. And when you stand at the other side of your fast, when you see the ruins of the demons that once ruled you, you will lift your hands to heaven and declare with a heart that knows no doubt, I am free. I am free. I am free. Forever free. Beloved, when you think on the weight of fasting, think not on the rumble of your stomach or the fatigue in your bones, but on the sacred company you join, when you choose to deny the flesh for the sake of your soul. For you are walking the same path as prophets and kings, as servants and shepherds, as those who changed the world not by sword or by crown, but by bowing low before the Most High. Think of Daniel, who refused the delicacies of Babylon, so that his heart might remain unspotted, and in his hunger he found wisdom that outshone all the magicians of the land. Think of Esther, who called her people to fast, not knowing if her life would be spared, Yet through that holy sacrifice an entire nation was delivered from death. Think of Elijah, who fasted in the wilderness, and found himself sustained by the very voice of God, in the whisper of the wind. And think of Jesus, your Savior, who in 40 days of hunger, tore down every temptation the devil hurled at him, and walked out of the wilderness, clothed in power. Each one of these, beloved, destroyed the schemes of the enemy, not by feasting, but by fasting. Each one stripped demons of their lies, not by indulging, but by denying. Each one stood taller in weakness, because their weakness became the canvas upon which God painted his strength. Do not forget this truth: the wilderness is holy ground. The emptiness is not your enemy. The silence is not your punishment. The hunger is not your doom. The wilderness is where your identity is forged. It is where masks fall off and truth stands alone. It is where demons reveal themselves for what they are: nothing more than defeated shadows howling to distract you from the reality that you are already more powerful than their lies. When you fast, you enter the wilderness willingly, and though the enemy comes to test you, though he comes to tempt you, though he comes to break you, it is in that very wilderness that you discover you cannot be broken. For greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Demons know this, and they tremble when you fast, because fasting is proof that you know it too. I know you have felt those nights where the darkness pressed so heavy you could scarcely breathe. I know you have seen those days where the voices in your head screamed louder than your prayers. I know you have endured the shame of chains no one else could see. But hear me, those chains were not forged to last forever. Those voices are not the final word. That darkness is not eternal. The very act of fasting is the rising of your spirit against the night. It is the lifting of your lamp in the valley of shadows. It is the song that defies despair. And each time you say no to your flesh, you are saying yes to your freedom. Each time you close your mouth to bread, you are opening your mouth to heaven. Each time you turn from the table, you are turning from torment. Do not despise the hunger, for hunger is holy when it is for him. Do not fear the emptiness, for emptiness is the cup he fills until it overflows. And some of you have wondered, why must the battle be so fierce? Why must the demons be so relentless? Why must I fight what seems unending? And I tell you, the intensity of your battle is the measure of your calling. The greater your fight, the greater your purpose. The deeper the wounds, the brighter the healing that will flow through you. Demons rage against you because heaven has marked you. They swarm you because your life is a doorway for others to be free. And if they can keep you chained, they can keep those who would have been freed by your testimony chained as well. But fasting cuts the chain at its root. Fasting says, no more shall this curse travel through my bloodline. No more shall this fear dominate my mind. No more shall this addiction own my body. No more shall this darkness walk with my children. In fasting you declare that the cycle is broken, the curse is shattered, the night is ending, and when you stand free, you do not stand free alone. You carry nations in your freedom. You carry families in your deliverance. You carry generations in your victory. The demons will try to remind you of your past. They will try to taunt you with what you used to be. They will try to convince you that no amount of fasting, no amount of prayer, no amount of faith can undo the damage already done. But that is the lie they have been rehearsing since Eden, and it has lost its power. For the cross has spoken a better word, and fasting brings you into the power of that word. It is not that fasting earns you forgiveness. It is that fasting clears the fog from your heart, so that you can finally see the forgiveness that has been yours all along. It is not that fasting buys your freedom. It is that fasting awakens you to the freedom that was purchased for you long before you were born. Demons know that when you see the truth clearly, their grip is broken forever. That is why they resist fasting with such fury, because fasting is the clarion call of truth that strips them of every disguise. And beloved, Do not underestimate the generosity that is born of fasting. When you take what you would have consumed and give it away, when you turn your hunger into someone else's bread, you are multiplying the power of your fast. You are declaring that love is stronger than lack, that compassion is stronger than craving, that God's abundance is greater than the scarcity of this world. Demons despise this, because demons thrive on selfishness. They live in greed, they whisper in envy, they breathe in jealousy. But when you fast and give, you suffocate them, you choke them with the fragrance of kindness, you drown them in the flood of generosity. Your fasting becomes not just your deliverance but the deliverance of the stranger, the widow, the orphan, the forgotten. And as your light shines in their darkness, more demons are driven out, more chains are shattered, more strongholds collapse, until the freedom that began in your hunger becomes a fire that sweeps through the lives of many. Oh beloved, I see you standing taller already. I see you walking lighter already. I see the shadows trembling as you rise. You may not feel it yet, but something is shifting in the unseen. Something is trembling beneath the surface. Something is breaking in the spirit realm. And when it breaks, it will not just be a crack, it will be an avalanche. It will be the sudden collapse of every fortress the enemy built against you. It will be the sweeping away of every accusation, every torment, every shame. And you will not simply walk free, you will run free, you will dance free, you will rejoice free. For whom the Son sets free is free indeed, and fasting is the pathway by which you come to know that freedom in your flesh, in your bones, in your breath, in your soul. So take courage, my dear one. Do not fear the hunger, do not fear the silence, do not fear the surrender, do not fear the fire, do not fear the freedom. For every one of these is a weapon in your hand, and every weapon is forged for victory. The demons that thought they owned you will look upon you and weep, for you will shine with a light they cannot quench. You will roar with a voice they cannot silence. You will walk with a strength they cannot break. And you will know, not because I told you, but because you have lived it, because you have fasted it, because you have fought for it, that demons may come, demons may roar, demons may whisper, demons may try, but they are defeated, forever defeated, eternally defeated. And you, beloved, you are free. Beloved, listen closely now, for the Spirit stirs even deeper within me, urging these words to reach you not as mere sound, but as fire, etched upon your soul. The battle you face is not an accident, it is not random chaos, it is not meaningless suffering. The battle is proof that you carry something holy, something radiant, something eternal within you, that the enemy cannot bear to see shine. And it is in fasting, in the denial of what seems urgent, that you uncover what is truly eternal. When you choose to lay aside the bread, the wine, the sweetness of the table, you are stepping into the banquet of heaven itself, a table demons are not invited to. They claw at the edges, they hiss at the fragrance, but they cannot enter. Fasting places you in communion with angels, with saints who have walked this road before you, with the eternal host who stand in awe as your fragile body becomes the dwelling of divine strength. And the more you fast, the more you realize that what you thought you were losing was never loss. It was gain in disguise. It was treasure hidden in weakness. It was eternity rising within mortal flesh. The truth is, demons are not destroyed by loud declarations alone, nor by desperate cries, nor even by tears that flow like rivers in the night. Demons are destroyed by alignment. When your spirit aligns with God, when your flesh bows to His will, when your appetite bends to His command, you become a living flame, and no shadow can dwell in flame. Fasting brings alignment, fasting makes you whole, fasting removes the cracks where darkness once crept in. You become single-minded, single-hearted, single-eyed, and in that holy focus you are untouchable. That is why demons flee from the fasting believer, for they see in you the reflection of the one who defeated them long ago. They see the wilderness mirrored in your eyes. They see the cross burning on your brow. They see the resurrection pulsing in your chest. They see and they know this one cannot be broken. But let me tell you, fasting is not only for the breaking of demons, it is also for the unveiling of your true self. Many of you have lived behind masks of fear, of people-pleasing, of shame, of doubt. You have defined yourself by your wounds. You have measured yourself by your failures. You have clothed yourself in garments stitched by other people's opinions. But fasting strips all of that away. It removes the costumes. It silences the false names. It lifts the veil. And what is revealed is not weakness but wonder, not failure but fire, not shame but shining dignity. You see yourself as God sees you, and in that vision you become unstoppable. Demons know that the moment you truly see yourself as chosen, as beloved, as royal, as victorious, their power is dissolved forever. That is why they fight you so fiercely at the beginning of a fast, why they whisper so loudly in those early days, why they try to push you back into comfort before you ever taste the fruit of revelation. But if you press on, if you endure, if you keep walking through the wilderness, there comes a day when you wake, and the lies no longer ring true. The chains fall silently, the torment loses its grip, and your soul rises as though it always had wings. And let me whisper this to your weary heart. Fasting does not only shift the unseen world, it shifts your blood, it shifts your bones, it shifts your mind. For the God who made you body, soul, and spirit does not only heal one part while ignoring the others. No, He restores wholly. When you fast, you purify not just your soul but your vessel. You cleanse the temple, you wash the walls, and in that cleansing the spirits that once clung to weakness find no place to stay. Demons dwell in broken vessels, in cluttered minds, in polluted hearts. But when you fast, you sweep the house, you open the windows, you light the lamp, and in that cleansing the darkness must flee. Your body becomes an altar again. Your mind becomes a sanctuary again. Your heart becomes a throne again. And upon that throne sits no demon but the living God. Do not let the world convince you that fasting is an old tradition, something forgotten by modern men. No, beloved, fasting is eternal. It is the language of deliverance, the rhythm of victory, the breath of warriors. It is not a ritual locked in ancient days. It is a weapon sharpened for every generation. When demons come in new disguises, when torment wears new clothes, fasting remains the ancient fire that burns them all the same. It is as sharp today as it was in Daniel's Babylon, as fierce today as it was in Esther's Persia, as holy today